Hey Scrappy friends, it's Audrey. Welcome to day 10 of Tis the Season 12 Days of Holiday Scrapping. We are nearing the finish line. I still have quite a few pages to do, however, so I'll be doing more after these 12 days, I'm sure. So I'm using a couple cut files today. I'm going to show you this one is I'm starting with. It's from Confessions of a Paper Addict, and it is an adorable kind of banner swag type of cut file with lots of little cute icons. And I have two photos of the kids decorating the Christmas tree. So I thought I would kind of have some decorations and use this cut file. So I actually used a second cut file, and this branch and bow rather are from Just Nick Studios, and I wanted something to put on top of the other cut file I'll show you. So I used two different cut files from two different stores, and I'm going to kind of put these together to create a page. So this background paper I'm using is again from my stash. I love going through my stash when I create these pages, and it is from Teresa Collins, and I have also had this paper forever. I did another, my elf page I did a couple days ago. I also use a Teresa Collins paper. My hair is a wreck. I have my hair in a really high bun on top of my head, and I did not realize it was hitting my camera like that. So sorry about that. Anyway, back to the paper. So I'm going to use some, I was debating what colors to use for the background because I'm going to use a lot of bright greens and reds in the cardstock I'm using to back my cut files and what I cut my cut files from. So I'm going to go with kind of a yellowish gold. So I took this stuff called foils from Shimmers, and I have never used it before. Well, actually, I have used it before, but in a different capacity. And I was going to try to do it through a stencil, but it looks okay actually from this view. But if you look at it really close up, it's a little thin. It's not like a texture paste, and it actually kind of bled underneath the stencil, and the stars were not very sharp and crisp and clean. So it's kind of a mess. So I keep going, thinking it's going to get better. I wipe off the back of the stencil a couple times. I really wanted to kind of pick up on the stars here, but I just don't like the way that it's kind of smushed, and it's just, I mean, I'm all for messy, but actually that one you can see how messy it looks. That's a different star stencil, and I was going for some smaller stars, but yeah, it just doesn't work really well through this stencil. So plan B, I'm just gonna smear it. So I'm just like, I don't like how this looks. Let me smear the whole thing. And actually, this is how I used this this foils last time. I think I did it on a fall page a couple weeks ago. And I actually love how that looks. And first of all, it dries super fast, and it's really, really pretty. So I'm still trying to get some texture with these stars. And I tried the pasties. Can't see it at all, but I'm going to still keep trying because I did some on the right, so I have to do some on the left. Yeah, I can't see it. It actually worked well through the stencil, but you just can't see it. That works better on a darker cardstock. So I'm just going to be satisfied with what I have for my background. Maybe I'll go back and do some splatters. Actually, I don't think I do. I'm just going to stick with the gold. So I was kind of measuring where I wanted to put things for my banners here. And I decided to cut the bows off of the cut file that I cut there in white. And you can see the other cut file, the pine branches, I cut two out of two different greens. One is a darker green, and the other one is a lighter green. And then I cut a third one, and in Silhouette Studio, and I wish I had shown you this, but I didn't. In Silhouette Studio, I had erased the pine branches and just kind of cut the bow. And then I had to fussy cut it out a little bit because it had some straggly cuts around it, but it was fine. So I just hand cut out the bow after the machine cut most of it out. And I cut the bows off of the pine branches, so I really like how those look. And I like the darker green layered on top of the lighter green. Oh, I forgot to mention, I backed my cut files. I didn't show you that process because it takes me a long time. And I think if you watch my pages, you know how I do them by now. So I just went through some pattern paper in my scraps and my Christmas scrap bin and just backed those. A couple of them are cardstock, a couple of them are pattern paper, and of course the gingerbread man there is some craft paper. I also backed the stars in the cut file with some glitter paper, which didn't really stick very well even with the liquid glue. But I tried what I could. And then what next? Oh, then I am I punched out some stars from glitter, and I'm going to start embellishing this and deciding what I'm going to put where. So I dug through my stash and I found a few of these bits from Pink Fresh Studios. I think the collection is called December Days. It is all of these I've just pulled out of an old Hip Kit Club kit. But I liked the gold foil in them because I thought that picked up in the gold glitter that I had. And I liked the colors because they matched the reds and greens that I had as well. So I'm deciding what I'm going to put down there and as the kind of center of my photos. These photos are so funny because I took them like one right after another, but the kids were on different sides of the tree. When I overlap the photo, it kind of looks like that they were standing there at the same time, like that it's one photo, but it wasn't. It was two different times, um, and two different photos. But if I had overlapped them, it kind of would have looked like one photo. Okay, so I found some vellum with some gold foil dots that I used to back my photos, and I will put some craft foam behind those to pop them off. You can see I've picked out a whole bunch of other little bits there, a couple other ornaments and some little houses and just a few other things, and I have those other um, all the little die cut pieces up at the top still. Nothing glued down yet. I'm not quite sure about some of the little embellishments, but I'm going to commit to this little garland here. You can see by the way I snipped off some of the pieces in the garland. The candy cane broke off because I had been fiddling around with it so much to back it with pattern paper. It kind of got weak on those thin lines there and broke off. And then the stocking I accidentally cut off when I was trimming off some other pieces of scrap paper from backing another part of that banner. But I'll just glue them on. And actually it works out because I am able to position them a little bit higher than how they were on the file originally so that they don't overlap my photo too much. Okay, so I wanted to add a little bit more, I guess, dimension to these pine branches. I liked having the light green and the dark green together. But I'm going to go through here with some markers. There's just like, they're not Copic markers, but you know, they're like an off-brand marker set that I got at a like Daily Deal website or something. And just going in with some darker greens and actually a darker blue to kind of just, I don't know, give it some depth, make it have a little bit darker green colors in there, and just draw in some of these needles, these pine needles. So I like what that does, and I do the same thing here with the light green one, but I will use a couple different shades of green. These markers, I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of hard to see under my hand right now, but when I first draw with them, the color actually looks pretty dark, but then it fades very quickly, I think, as the marker dries. So it's fine. I like how they come out. Just a little bit more oomph, I guess, to these. And I'm going to do the same thing with the bow and go around the bow with some red. Just trace the lines there, nothing too fancy. Voila. Maybe? Nope. Okay, a little bit more detail with a darker gray. Okay, now I'm done. Okay, I'm going to staple those branches together so they don't wiggle all over the place, and then I'm going to glue them down and then put my bow over that. And I already have my white little garland glued down there. Pop this bow off. And now it's just a matter of me deciding what I want to put where. So I found these die cuts. They're both ornaments from that Pink Fresh Studio pack. I liked that they were white with gold foil because they didn't, they didn't add too much. But I don't know. I just couldn't position them correctly, and I just didn't like. I don't know. I just wasn't satisfied with them. So I'm gonna leave them there. I'm gonna play around with my title bits and the things that I picked out for my title at the bottom. I liked that little banner I just had, but I didn't like the saying. I mean, I liked the saying in it, but it wasn't. I don't know. It just didn't go with my photos. So I'm gonna pick this one that says "Deck the Halls," and then I'm gonna pick a couple other stickers from this Pink Fresh Studios sheets and a couple of the die cuts, and just kind of layer those stickers underneath. And then instead of putting like a label on the top of my photos, which I usually do for the date, I am going to kind of just do a tiny cluster of little embellishments on each side of the photo. And again, just adding a few puffy stickers and a few other bits. Now it's funny when I watch this back and as I'm doing this voiceover, like I really like those white ornaments on there right now. In the video, I don't leave them on. Spoiler alert, they come off. So I take the ornaments off, the white ones, because I don't know, it was just too wide or something. But now I kind of like them there. Oh well, it is what it is, and it's done. What else? I'm just cutting a small sticker to kind of fit over there. Not much more. I think I have to glue a few things down yet, don't I? Yes, all the little punched stars I haven't glued down yet, so I'm gonna I'm gonna glue those down. I was going to pop them off the page with my foam squares, but my foam squares were too big, and I just did not feel like cutting my foam squares to fit, so they're just gonna get glued right down. Okay, still fiddling with those. I'm going to take those off. And then I also wasn't sure where to put these red bows because I had backed those with pattern paper, or I'm sorry, just cardstock. And they had gone on the ends of the white garland there. I liked them, and I kind of wanted to put them here somewhere, so I'm just going to stick it right in the middle of my photos eventually. I found that when I put them at the top, I felt they took away from the big red bow I had up at the center. So there is where I decided to lay out everything finally. So yeah, I did add one bow to the photo, and I left a single red bow, big red bow at the top. And here are some close-ups coming your way. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is I did add some Nuvo drops to add some details to these cut files. I've been using those a lot lately on my pages. And there are all the fun layers. I love cut files. I love backing cut files. So fun. Okay, thank you so much for joining me for day 10. 2 more days left, and then it's Christmas. I have got a lot of Christmas stuff to do, so I will be glad to take a break after this. Okay, thanks so much for watching. Stay scrappy, friends. Be sure to check out the other designers' videos below, too.